I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Booby.
And I keep wanting to say Salty and Chip. Chip and Vita.
And Rocky.
Yeah, Rocky.
We're getting back to an oldie but goodie.
How many times did you hear that when you were a kid? Don't talk to strangers.
Don't talk to strangers. Ronnie James Dio.
Did your family tell you that?
No. No. I actually never got that type of guidance, which is, now looking back, it's kind of a strange phenomenon. Why wouldn't they tell me to do that? I don't know. It's very strange.
Maybe you weren't in danger of it. Maybe you weren't that type of kid.
Yeah, I don't know.
Even still. You
Don't
want
talk to
that
strangers. Let's go.
All right, ready?
Yeah?
Go.
Don't talk to strangers, 'cause they're only there to do you harm. Don't write in starlight, 'cause the words may come out real. Don't hide in doorways, you may find the key that opens up your soul. Don't go to heaven, 'cause it's really only hell. Don't smell the flowers, they're an evil drug to make you lose your mind. Don't dream of women, 'cause they'll only bring you down.
Yikes. Good advice. Sounds like a series of proverbs, basically. Like, you know.
I was confused by some of it.
Well, he'll take a theme and then it gets really avant-garde as he keeps writing.
Oh, okay.
So it's... I don't think you're going to have like a canonical definition of what all these terms mean, but we can try. What did you get? What did you understand from what you said?
Well, don't talk to strangers. They'll only do you harm. I mean, that's basically what your parents tell you, you know, like... but don't write in starlight because the words may come out real. That... I don't know if he means, like... I don't know what starlight means, but... I don't know if he means, like, whatever you're supposed to... Because you might be too honest in your writing if you write at a certain time or a certain place. I'm not really sure what starlight is supposed to be.
Well, I think for him, like, he's a star.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's talking about, like... I think that's one of the reasons why he writes in code all the time.
Oh.
It's because he didn't want to come out and say exactly what was really going on inside of him. Mm-hmm. Like, to where people can interpret it too close. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, he, that's why it's kind of mysterious when he writes, I think. Yeah, I think that this is like, it's beyond, don't talk to strangers, because then you have to define who's strange. I mean, he's a grown man at this point.
Right.
I think this is about, like, keeping people, the wisdom of keeping people at a distance, particularly women. It's very important. Well, for a man in a powerful position, it's something that you think about a lot as far as how to navigate dealing with the opposite sex. I think it's a tough thing to do.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I mean, you don't know motives. You don't understand motives. You don't understand, what's going on, how to relate, those types of things. And and then there's that whole trope about the woman who brings down the powerful man or whatever. Mm-hmm. The whole Samson and Delilah thing. And, it's a trope and a stereotype to some degree, but, those things don't get any legs unless there's some sort of...
some truth behind it.
Well, yeah, and then, there's just... I think when you're famous... I just think just fame in general... when it interfaces with certain types of personalities, it creates this type of... You want to keep people at a certain distance, because it's people are become extremely intrusive, but even not being a famous person, like I'm like that. Like I don't talk about, I don't really like, I like to keep certain distances.
Yeah. I'm not sure you're very good at it though.
What do you mean?
Or maybe you keep the distances that you want. Do you keep the distances that you want?
Well, yeah, I'm very strategic about how I apply it. But I mean, it depends. I mean, you're saying. I think you're probably saying that because maybe we're in a good stretch, or we're in a bad stretch. You're always saying you're so distant and you keep everything from me. And blah,
oh no, I think you're distant from me. But as far as like, I don't know that you like keep a real distance from...
Oh, I'm distant from you, but not from other people.
No, obviously you're more distant to other people than you are to me, obviously. I'm just saying, I wasn't even talking about us. I was just saying, like, in general, like, it seems you always get very close to people from, the outside looking in, I guess.
Yeah?
Yes.
How much do you think they actually know of me? People actually know of me?
Oh. No, they don't know a lot about you. You just know a lot about them.
Okay.
Interesting. That's an interesting point. I'm going to have to think about that later. Sorry.
Not like we've never had this conversation before.
Babe, I know, but I forget things.
Yeah, that's because you don't listen. All right, and that's why I don't talk.
No.
That's why I don't talk about it.
I do listen. Anyway, the flowers part reminded me of, what's that movie? With the witch that gets the bucket of water thrown on her and she, I'm melting!
Oh, Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, the Wizard of Oz.
Who doesn't know the Wizard of Oz?
The smell of the flowers. Don't smell the flowers. They're an evil drug to make you lose your mind. Well, it just made me think of when they fell asleep when they smelled those flowers. Remember they went to the field on The Wizard of Oz?
Oh, and then it made him go to sleep or whatever? Okay.
I don't know what he was referencing because...
Probably drugs. You know, like weed is a flower or a plant or whatever.
I don't think it's a flower.
Well, again, I think he's taking some artistic license here.
Well, when he says... Okay, so he says, don't smell the flowers. Now, flowers are beautiful. They smell good. They seem wonderful. But he's saying, but they're actually an evil drug that's going to make you lose your mind. Then he says, don't dream of women, which could also be categorized very like a flower, because they'll only bring you down. Like, I wonder if there's like a correlation between that. You know what I mean?
Well, it looks like sex, drugs, and rock and roll to some degree.
Yeah.
You know, like stay away from it.
Yeah.
But the whole concept of like not
But
talking.
he said heaven, and then it's really actually only hell. So like he keeps saying about things that seem like they look really cool or really good, but then in the end they're not. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, yeah, but the concept of strangers is really interesting to me because like who is a stranger in this song? And it just seems to me it's like a stranger is anybody that you don't want in your inner circle. You know, I used to have real conflicts with like in my previous relationship because she used to just say whatever was like happening out all the time in public. I'd be like, why are you saying we don't know these people? Like they're not like what is happening? But it was just a lot of, you know, that was her mentality was I'm gonna be my authentic self. Mm-hmm. And you know, there's that passage in the Bible that says a fool gives full vent to their spirit. Mm-hmm. It's like there's this big primer on being completely authentic all the time to everybody in our current modern day, and I'm like, why? Why are you being so?
Right.
You know, which is, I guess, is hypocritical because we've been pretty. I've been more open than I perceived myself to be with this channel because it's something that the music is, you know, doing. So it's like.
I forget how open we are until we start meeting up with people. I'm like, yo, these people know all that.
Yeah. Like we had a conversation at the Beam and showed somebody, and they're like yada yada yada, and I'm like, whoa, okay. You know, it wasn't completely accurate, but it was strange. It was a strange moment. I was like, oh yeah, because it's like I'm just, you know, it's just you and the camera and the music and you know, so, but. You know, in my other life, I'm like extremely like closed off. But you know, it's you got to kind of qualify what a stranger is in your life.
Yeah.
I don't think people do like a lot of thinking through as to like who are the people that are close to you. You know, who protect your soul. I do think that there has to be some level of self-protection where you're not like emotionally giving yourself. And I'm not even talking about relationship like. I'm not even talking about relationship man and woman. I'm just talking about relationships in general.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Where it's like people that completely give themselves to people. Yeah. You know, and it's like there's only about 3 or 4 people out of the 8 billion or 7 billion on the planet right now that's a good play with. You know, like those numbers are pretty crazy, but those are the facts in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Like
Rihanna has this song that I like to listen to, and she goes, "You almost feel ashamed that someone could be that important." Like when everything's over, like you feel like I don't know. Anyway, go ahead.
I don't know what that means. What are you talking about? What does that mean?
It's at the end of a relationship, and then like basically you're so busted up at the end of the relationship because that person was so important to you that you almost feel ashamed that you let somebody be that important to you that you could be wrecked that bad by their absence.
Oh, I see.
It's basically what she's saying, but
I see. Whoa, that's deep.
I sing that song a lot. I've showed it to you before.
Why would you listen to a song like that?
I love stuff that's like sad because the music video is really great. Like they're like, well, they fight, but at the same time, like they have a lot of fun together. And like he gives her a tattoo on her ass. And then, like, they put, like, I guess it's weed. They put, like, a bunch of them together like this, and then they, like, smoke that, and then, like, there's one part where he's, like, smoking, and he blows it to her or something, and then she breathes it in, and it's just them just having do whatever they do together. I mean, at the end, there's one part where they're, like, in a bathtub together. I think they have the clothes on. I can't remember how that worked. Like, it's been actually a little bit. I've only been listening to it. I haven't watched the video in a little bit. And then there's like another part where they're on a skateboard and she goes down the thing sitting on. It's just cute. Like they're just having fun. But then they fight and stuff.
And then there's a breakup.
Yeah. But she basically, I think she, you know, wants to go back to it because even though it was like, but it says, like they fell in love like in the, I can't remember now. I'm like, when I'm on the spot, man.
I hear you. Okay, so that relates to the song as far as like letting people into that degree, and then it goes bad.
And then it goes bad, and then you're like, well,
Yeah.
I should have never done that.
Well, I could see a person saying that's a very cynical way of looking at relationships. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I can see people saying that too. But I think that as you age, you realize that it's true.
that what's true?
That, you know, there are very few people that you can let that far into your soul. There are people that you have to keep at a distance. And even, you know, they can even be like the relationship with your dad or your mom or family members or friends. Like, there are some relationships that you have to know what that person is capable of, and you have to keep them at a distance. Because if you let them too far in and they do inevitably what you know they're going to do, it's going to wreck you beyond, you know, where you feel a repair. So you have to pace yourself with some people. That's my take.
That's interesting.
Why?
When you say inevitably that you know they're gonna do, what do you mean by that?
Well,
Like if I thought that somebody was like inevitably gonna be a terrible person, like why are you even in a relationship with
no, I'm not even saying like romantic relationships, but you know, you might have, it might be a parent-child relationship, and you might know like where this is gonna land in the end. Like could be a really bad ending. Like maybe the person is, let's say the person, maybe the person is like a self-destructive person, or the person is always like basically a flight risk in the family. Like, you know that they're not going to be there. You know, different
I
things
see.
like that.
So
Where
people who have
they've demonstrated something to you that's let you know.
It's not mysterious.
No,
like,
you know,
yeah.
and so then you have to pull yourself back, because you can't give them your whole soul, because when they do what you inevitably, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
eventually they're going to do
Right.
what's them, you know?
Right. Although that person doesn't really count as a stranger. I've always had this thing where at work, in church, people have always said like, people have always criticized me for being closed off, and it's interesting. The YouTube community doesn't say that.
Well, you're not.
Yeah.
Babe, you're more open
The
with the
dynamic is
YouTube
very
community
strange.
than I ever saw you were with a group of people.
Yeah. That's why the song is very fascinating to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because all these folks, if I'd have like seen them in the flesh on terra firma, then I would be.
You wouldn't have told all those stories.
Yeah, not to the detail, not to the
Yeah, I know.
level of detail. But
Oh, there's plenty of things I would have never said too.
what do you mean?
There's plenty of things that I've said on this channel, like in regards to us, that like if I was in the room with these people, I would never have said.
I agree with that. but then I'm like I'm not particularly sure how true that is, because you're
There's certain categories I don't talk about publicly though.
that's true. You're true. You're right about that. But you're a more open person than I am.
Yeah, I would say yes.
Yeah.
But I don't love people as deeply as you do.
No. I love people a lot. A lot.
Low.
Hey you know me. You've touched me. I'm real. The one that lets you look and see and feel me. I'm the danger. I'm the stranger. And I'm the darkness. I'm anger and pain. I'm the master. I think that he's talking about himself to himself. Or he's talking about himself to the fans of his music. Because it says the one that lets you look and see and feel me. So I think he might be talking to himself. He might be talking to the fans. It might be a simultaneous thing.
The fans?
Yeah, because they get to see
No,
him.
I don't think so, because
They get to feel him through the music, through his music.
But then he says, "Don't let them inside your mind." Yeah, run away, go.
Well, then he switches back to talking to himself, because he goes back and he says, "Don't talk." So I think that he's like, he's talking about the conflict that he has about writing music which is what makes him him, and sharing those parts of himself, which is what makes him a successful musician, but at the same time having that conflict of, yeah, but, you know.
He's saying he's the stranger.
Say again?
He's saying he's the stranger. I wonder if it's his, like, you know, you talk about the shadow self, like the darker self inside, because he says, hey, you know me, you've touched me, I'm real, I forever. The one that lets you look and see and feel me. I'm danger, I'm the stranger, and I am darkness, I'm anger, I'm pain, I'm master.
Right.
The evil song you sing inside your brain drive you insane, don't talk, don't let them inside your mind, yeah, run away, go. So I think it's like that part of himself that he's not letting out to the world, and that's the stranger.
But then he says,
said on the
you've
stranger.
touched me, you know that I'm real, I'm the one that lets you.
Yeah, I think it's himself.
He's talking to himself.
Like himself talking to his darker self. Like the darker self is talking to
his
himself.
outer self?
Yeah, and he's saying, look, you know I'm real. You've touched me, you've seen me, you know.
Right.
You know? Don't let them inside here.
Which is that whole aspect of not completely revealing yourself
Yeah.
to another person.
Yeah.
Or
to a crowd of
to
people.
a crowd of people. I'm kind of like, yeah, that's interesting.
You're kind of like what?
Well, it's the desire, though, to be known, to know and to be known is a pretty basic core human desire.
Yeah.
And then you kind of see this in the Garden of Eden thing, where before sin enters the world, they're naked and they're not ashamed, and that's kind of metaphorical for they're completely open with each other. And the minutes it happens that they start wearing, there's that bar of separation now.
Yeah.
And people are always trying to get back to that sort of openness and things like even relationships where we've gone through very like cycles where we're very, very open and transparent with each other, and then there are times when we're both closed off and whatever. And so it's just it's an interesting struggle that happens in relationships, but of course I just think with a guy like this, it's completely different, because he's dealing with this on so many different levels.
Oh, yeah.
With his fans and music and his own bandmates and himself.
Yeah.
And if he was in a relationship, how that would go, forget it. Good Lord.
Yeah, that's a lot. A whole lot.
Don't dance in darkness, you may stumble and you're sure to fall.
Yeah, I think he's saying...
That's his shadow self, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, there, it definitely looks shadow self.
He's saying, look, if you go in the dark and do a little bit, you're going to fall right in and be me.
Right.
So don't go over there. Leave it alone.
What do you give the song?
Ooh, I liked it. I, enjoyed it. The words were, I was like, what's going on? I guess, I really like it when there's something that's old that I can still like, because I feel like I shouldn't like any of the old stuff. Like, I feel like I'd be like, ugh.
Why?
Just because it's old, I guess.
He's my favorite vocalist.
I really like, I'm going with an 8.5, I guess.
Yeah, that's a solid 8 for me. Solid 8 for me. The last time we did DIO, this was like a super big request. People were like, dude, don't talk to strangers. So here you are. What do you got?
That's it.
Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.